Hello everybody, welcome to Nanasumai. I'm your host MJ Gurdarshan. Today we are going to do an episode based on chemistry, and today's topic is how are elements formed. I'm going to combine both chemistry and astronomy in this one. So we are going to talk about how the basic elements of 118 elements found in periodic table is formed. So early in the universe there was nothing. Suddenly Big Bang happened in less than 10 to the power of minus 35 seconds. And this happened due to a God particle named as Higgs boson. Higgs boson is a God particle which gives matter its mass, and it's stated as it's one of the particles that started the Big Bang. It was found using the Large Hadron Collider, which is beneath Switzerland and France border, and this is where the scientists found out this. So what happened is during the Big Bang, it formed antimatter and last protons. Later the protons, neutrons and electrons were formed, then formed the atoms. So then the most simple element was formed, the lightest element, which was hydrogen. So hydrogen, there were basically clouds of hydrogen and dust in the space at the beginning. So as there were clouds, they had some center of mass. So due to their gravity, they collapsed and pressure and temperature increased, which led to formation of first stars known as first generation stars. So these stars, what happened is that when the hydrogen fuel was over, they started burning up helium. This process is known as nuclear fusion. So it's also known as nucleosynthesis, where new elements are formed due to fusion. So three nuclei of helium which was burned went into carbon, then nitrogen, then oxygen, then neon, then sodium, silicon, sulfur, iron. So the small stars and they created these kind of elements in the core. Like when it came to iron, it's like a poison to the stars, whereas to us humans it's one of the most important elements. So at the moment the iron is created in the star's core, the star's core collapses in 1/4 of a second and goes into a huge explosion, one of the brightest and violent explosion in the universe, known as supernova. This supernova spread all the element-rich dust into space, where this dust mixed with other dusts and formed new stars. These new stars were the second generation stars. They formed what was known as red supergiant. For the few million years they burnt brightly, then they began to swell up and began becoming bigger. And when they also started getting bigger, and the moment the iron was created in their core also, they collapsed and it turned into a supernova, whereas the core remained as a neutron star or a black hole. A neutron star is nothing but a ball of dense ball of neutrons, which is the size of city, whereas a black hole has huge mass and time is like not defined, and the gravities were like impossible things here. So now we talked about how elements are formed. So in red supergiant, the elements were formed are aluminium, silicon, vanadium, iron, titanium, potassium, calcium, argon, and phosphorus and zirconium. All these were formed. And when supernovas and supernovas clashed together, they formed cobalt, nickel, gallium, germanium, krypton, iodine, and xenon. So when neutron stars, they formed binaries, means one neutron star rotates around another neutron star. So they became a binary, means they have the same common center and they rotate under each other. They are like brother and sisters. So when these two collided, they created the most spectacular explosion since the Big Bang, which was brighter than the supernova and more violent. So this gave rise to heavy elements such as gold, iridium, uranium, lead, platinum, and mercury. All these elements were formed, but these stars were the size of cities. When imagine two cities combined, and it gave rise to a huge explosion size of the Earth. So this is what happened. It gave rise to a huge amount of mass, that is 6 into 10 to the power of 24 kg. That's the mass of the Earth, and it gave that much huge gold was produced in this explosion, heavy elements. So this was happened. So your question comes, iron was found, but one of the most important tools and found all around you, even in the tab I'm recording, is known as copper. It's found everywhere. So copper is the most important tool in electrical terms. So how did copper form? So copper formed due to a method known as magical transformation. In the outer layers of the red giant, the particles collided and they emitted neutrons. their neutrons went and collided with the iron atoms which had positive charge, whereas neutrons were negative, like neutral, so they went and attached to the iron atoms. Whereas it tricked the iron atom by later decaying into proton and emitted an electron. This resulted in the formation of copper, which is one of the most important elements. The next thing what happened was the supernova shock wave, which traveled light years, had clouds of gases of H2 and helium. So when these two collided, they formed lithium, beryllium and boron. These elements were formed like this. So all the elements which are found in the periodic table are not formed in stars. Some may be artificially created, but most of them are formed in the stars. So thank you for watching this video. Subscribe. Please like. 1 second.